Social media has put people under stress. The youth is like a spontaneous nucleus, like a radioactive isotope. If you don't contain it, it's just going to explode. Well, I hope not, because I'm from the legacy media, and it hurts me a lot to see that the media is the media industry is withering down, or it's slowly dying down. In 2002, when I graduated from university, I had a degree in my hand, and I was totally clueless about what to do next. And like most youth, I was, like I say, confused. I did not know what to do with the education that I had just acquired and finished. And it was it was a science subject. So people gave me different opinions, do this and do that. But there was a friend who said that, why don't you come to my city? And his city is the port city of Karachi. It's the largest city of Pakistan, over 20 million people. And it's a vibrant city, volatile in politically alive, socially. There's a lot happening in every street. So I took a train, boarded a train, and after 2 days of my graduation, I was in Karachi. And I started to apply for jobs. Okay, these are random jobs, sales jobs. I even learned forex trading, which I've forgotten. But initially, I just
really?
I just wanted to keep foot somewhere so that I could start earning and make a living. Executive secretary, translation, everything I tried. And but somehow it didn't click. And then my friend, who is a journalist, he said, come to my office and see if you like this. And said, how about doing this? News, media. The only introduction I had with the media then was reading a newspaper. I had no clue of how news was produced, how it was sourced. And then I started. I took a test. Okay, the person there at the news, it was a small news agency, a one-room news agency.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that, I see potential in you. And that was an encouragement. It was the first spark. And said, okay, let me just try this. And then it was no turning back from then onwards. I had no formal training in journalism because I had a science background. So what I did was, there were a few people there in Karachi who give these workshops to train new people with non-journalistic backgrounds, training in journalism, the basic training, news writing, the ethics, news sourcing, how to conduct interviews. Yes, it was mostly the print media back then. I'm talking about before the onslaught of the electronic media in Pakistan. So I took that course, and in that course too, the instructors liked my work a lot, and they started to promote me, and they started to encouraged me to apply for different organizations. And I applied for another news agency, a bigger news agency, worked there for 3 months. And then I got my first chance at a newspaper. This is a national newspaper. It's an international newspaper called The News International. For a year and a half, I worked there. And then after that came the biggest opportunity of my life. And that was in the biggest English newspaper for Pakistan called Dawn. And a dream come true for every journalist, whatever age limit, age group, if he ends up in Dawn, it's his dream come true. And I got that opportunity in my early 20s. So I was very lucky to land that opportunity. And it's not easy to work in Dawn. They used to take tests. It's like literally there's an entrance test. So they make you write essays to see how you structure sentences and how you formulate your thought and the construction, everything. And I took that test. And somehow wasn't sure, but then I got news that I did very well, and I was the youngest person in Dawn at that time. So that's how my journalistic career started, and it's now nearly 2 decades now. It's been a very nice journey.
You have already the proper background of mass communication. Overall, I can see that you have seen how it has gone through, from the legacy to today's social media also. But don't you think that this mass communication, which is creating some kind of behavioral changes, especially with the youth, isn't it? It's affecting so much mental health.
See, because change is the only constant. Every society, every organization, I'd say even ideology goes through changes. Okay, there may be big changes, there may be small changes, but that's how humans are. They can't sit pretty in one place. They have to move around. They have to think. They have to change. So this change in how media conduct itself had to change. Okay, and
You can say this current one is also a change.
yes,
the
it's a
media, which
change.
is
It's not going to stop here. Of course, it's going to go.
gonna grow.
Yes, it's going to
Yeah.
grow. It's going to advance. It's going to. I don't know where it's going to lead us to.
Yeah.
However, the thing is that we did not expect this change to be so
Drastic.
rapid
Yeah.
and so drastic, because the newspaper journalism, a newspaper media, let's say, it has been from the start of the 17th century, and it started as people used to come to the pubs and the clubs in the US and the UK, seafarers. They used to tell the stories, and someone used to write those stories and then print them on small paper, and then word got out that there's some sort of news, and back there, then politicians started to call it public opinion, and later on it developed into a structured system, and it took the form of news, and that's where press came in. That's where press freedom came in. That's where the government started to realize that this is very important. People started to realize that it's important for our voice to be heard by the authorities, and authorities also wanted to somehow know what the people were thinking, and that's how slowly. And then, of course, it developed as it moved on. Radio came in. After radio, it was TV, and until then, things were moving very gradually. Okay, limited. Okay. It had its own pros. The pros were that a journalist or the press, when it would do a story, it used to think about it from many angles before letting it out to the public, correcting the facts and everything. Okay, so it would ensure that whatever news goes out is correct. Okay, and back then every story was a challenge of credibility for the news organization, for the media organization. So, for example, retractions were not considered to be a good thing. If a media gave out a wrong report and the next day they ran a report, a corrigendum or a retraction saying the news that we published yesterday or day before was wrong and we regret it, that meant that they're not doing the job properly. But then came social media. With that social media, it was like everyone started thinking that if you have a social media account, you're a journalist, you're a media person. It had its own challenges. It still has its own challenges, I'd say. And the legacy media has been hit very badly.
Legacy media is like a history for us. Whoever is.
Well, I hope not, because I'm from the legacy media, and it hurts me a lot to see that the media is the media industry is withering down, or it's slowly dying down. The social media, when it came in, it posed a couple of challenges. Okay, one challenge was, of course, speed, the speed of the news.
Yes.
Earlier, it was the newspaper. You get the news today, and you would read it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's
speed, yeah.
you get the news. You get the news now, and the next second it's on air or on social media, and everyone knows about it. Okay. And then there were the revenues. Newspaper used to get the revenues from the advertisements. Okay. That was the source, their livelihood, their bread and butter. And now it's so expensive. People just pay a fraction of that and promote the stuff on social media, or maybe create their own account and do it for free. Through their in-house departments. Okay. The third thing is, earlier, like I said, everything was factually corrected. Now, social media, you never know what is true, what isn't. So there's a lot of fake news there. Okay. So those are the pros and cons, of course. But this change had to happen. Okay. People are not content with things, so they keep on developing things. You can take any industry and see that people change from horses to cars, to now to driverless autonomous cars, and God knows
this
what.
change, do you think this gonna affect or help us? Because, like I said, it's youth behavior changing.
It depends. Now, see, the youth is energetic. I was a youth once. You're still young.
You are still young.
So like I said, the youth is like a spontaneous nucleus, like a radio, radioactive isotope. If you don't contain it, it's just going to explode. Okay, and for that reason, the youth need to be directed. They have the means. Okay, you can't stop them from using social media or any technology for that matter. But you can at least tell them the pros and cons, and it's the same as you teaching your child about things. They're going to learn about things coming up in their life anyway, without you telling them or not. They're going to learn it from them friends, from other family members, learn it themselves, schools. You can't close your child in a cocoon. Okay, so you teach them, but you teach them gradually. You don't teach them big things when they're age 4. You teach them things that are appropriate for age 4, and then when they enter the teens, you teach them things that are appropriate for that age, right? Mm-hmm. Similarly, when and this goes, throughout the life. Okay, so when the youth have this important and this sourceful thing in their hands, you need to just tell them this is how you need to do it. For that, you first need to give them a purpose of life. When you give them a purpose of life, they're going to use everything to fulfill that purpose. It is this very reason that we do not have a purpose of life for our youth, that they are using it for things that are just, creating more problems than solutions.